So it's midnight Eastern, as promised. We'll close one interaction box on OBS Studio and then interact with this one that you see, and hopefully this will work out. So this is my latest 2026 NFL mock draft. I won't take too long going through this. Some of the names I might struggle with. Remember, I do a lot of reading, a lot of analysis that way. I'm not as much... Some of the names I have a better chance with than others. They don't have pronouncers with them in many cases. Or you get the pronouncer and it's wrong. All right. And again, these are from the projected draft order on Tankathon, which has it based strictly by, if it were to end today, how would it look from a postseason order standpoint. I don't want people emailing me or tweeting me to complain about the teams and the orders. That used to happen a lot, which is why I don't do it that way anymore. Let Tankathon take the heat. So number one, the New York Jets got them taking Oregon quarterback Dante Moore. Now, it's really interesting with Moore. He was a redshirt last year. He's had a fantastic 2025 season. He's one of several quarterbacks, but he got 2 more years of eligibility. They paid him well for his redshirt season, like north of $600,000, if I'm not mistaken. They've got huge money, thanks to Phil Knight. That Nike money. We're talking billions and billions of dollars that this man has. 87 years old, and he's passionate about University of Oregon football. Number 2, Miami Dolphins. And they're stuck on a bad contract with Tua Tagovailoa. It's got a rolling guarantee. Like, if you've got him for this season, he's got a guaranteed money for the next year. Pretty ingenious. Some of these quarterback deals of these teams with the second or third contracts, some of these have been kind of poison pills. But nevertheless, if the Dolphins are really that bad off, Mendoza to me makes sense. You could go offensive tackle, you could do a few things. But I think Mendoza, if he's there, he's got eligibility. A lot of these players have eligibility for next year. The Saints at number 3. Got 8 players in on the Twitchy Tides next game. So we need to get to 10 for that, for the game to count for the leaderboard standings. Number 3, New Orleans Saints. Lenoris Sellers, quarterback from South Carolina. I'm not sure if he's going to go out after this season. And these players with NCAA eligibility, he passed up a pretty big money offer, the NIL money, to go to a different school, which I think was Duke, but I don't know for sure. Anyway, he didn't go. And he's one of the best college quarterbacks in the country. Number 4, my hometown Tennessee Titans. Tough. Coach gets axed. Got a rookie quarterback. But I think what they really need is a pass rusher. They get a good pressure up the middle. Jeffrey Simmons and all. But anyway, Ruben Bain. To me, he's the best of the bunch. But again, this is about my analysis, not my evaluation. I'm a huge fan of Ruben Bain Jr. So if he's there for the Titans, then I think it makes a lot of sense. Baltimore Ravens, it's weird having them at this height, number 5, but that's the way it plays out on Tankathon. Keldrick Falk, got him as a defensive end, but he's kind of this tweener, or he could kick him in to play tackle potentially. 285, maybe not tackle as much. The point is he's got some size to him. He's not just an outside linebacker that can really blitz. But he's had a great year for Auburn. I've got him at number 5. Number 6, John Mateer, quarterback out of Oklahoma to the Cleveland Browns. I don't know if the Browns would actually end up taking a quarterback. We'll see. But they're going to have a couple of shots at it. And here I've got them taking Mateer. If they're going to take one, it needs to be early. That's just the way it works. It's so skewed. At number 7, the Las Vegas Raiders, Spencer Fano, offensive tackle out of Utah. On most boards, he's number 1. Not all, though. Some like Proctor out of Alabama better, but I tell you. But again, another player with eligibility potentially for next year if he decides to return or to transfer. Caleb Downs, amazing safety out of Ohio State. Got him going into the Giants at number 8. There hadn't been a top 10 pick that played safety going back to like the 2016 draft. It just doesn't happen very much anymore due to the way the NFL has tilted more and more in favor of the passing game. The reality of it. We got 10 players in. We'll put this on pause. Caleb Downs to the Giants, number 8. One of the best defensive backs in the country. One of the best players, period, in the country. Because of his position, playing safety, the way that the game is tilted so much in favor of passing attacks and passing defenses. Oh, it takes a really special talent to crack into the top 10. I think you go back to 2016, the last time a safety, a true pure safety, win the top 10 of the NFL draft. It just doesn't happen that much anymore, in part, of course, because of the demand for quarterbacks. Insatiable demand. Teams will just do ludicrous things because, in many cases, that's the difference between winning and losing in the modern NFL. Number 9, Arizona Cardinals. Francis, these are where the names are going to be tricky for me. Maui Goa. Really good right tackle. Cards are expected to have their right tackle leave after this season. His contract is up. That would be a possibility there at 9. At 10, I got the Houston Texans taking Peter Woods. Huge defensive tackle out of Clemson, who was remarkably quick for his size, to the point they tried to turn him into a defensive end. He's the quickest, fastest guy on the team at 315 pounds, whatever. Like, let's make him lose 30 pounds. That'd be faster. And it didn't work out so well. It's easy to, in hindsight, but you know what? They recognized it wasn't working. Instead of trying to force the square peg into the round hole, all right, let's move back inside. That's worked out a bit better. He should be really good in the NFL. But again, these players have eligibility for next year, and it's not the guarantee it once was because of the NIL money. Now, for some of these, because a number of reasons, things can go differently for different players, but this is very preliminary, very broad brush strokes here as far as who and where, including the draft order, which comes via Tankathon. Number 11, Cincinnati Bengals. Got them taking T.J. Parker, defensive end edge rusher out of Clemson. Some have him as the top edge, but that's... You'll have different players, different opinions. There's not a consensus there, per se. At 12, Jordan Tyson. It feels low for that to be the first receiver. Tyson had a whale of a game against Texas Tech this past weekend. He's really impressive. And while I keep my evaluations out of it, the eye test, what do you want to call it, with Tyson, dude's legit. For 13, Mateo, and that last name I would butcher it if I was trying to pronounce it. Really good edge, defensive end out of Oregon. Again, somebody with eligibility for 2026. And there's Phil Knight with his literally billions of dollars from Nike. I'm just saying, some of these Oregon, a lot of these players I think people presume are going to go, and first rounders maybe, but you may think you're a first rounder, then by the time April rolls around, around 3 or 4, there's stuff that happens outside of your control, etc. Anyway, but if he goes, he should be one of the top edge rushers. Had a great season last year, doing well for the Ducks this season. At 14, the LA Rams, with them taking Ty Simpson, quarterback from Alabama. Again, players that have eligibility for 2026. 18 touchdowns and 1 interception. 70% plus completion rate for Ty Simpson. Got him going to the Rams at 14. At 15, Dermod McCoy, corner out of Tennessee. Hadn't even played this season. Suffered a torn ACL back in January. Knee injury. But when he's healthy, he's an elite cover corner. Now, he's going to have to be healthy enough to run. That's where I got burned last year, predicting corners going. Some of these injured corners, like Siobhan Revelle from East Carolina, Will Johnson out of Michigan. If teams want to be sure, if they're going to spend a first-round pick on a corner, you better have that elite high-end speed and be able to prove it. If not, well, let's hope your tape is really good. At 16, David Bailey, the Carolina Panthers. He's a really good edge rusher. Not as strong against the pass as some of the other players that are comparably ranked in the edge spot, but whatever. Again, it's all about the passing game. If you're an elite edge rusher, that moves you up the list. He's had a great season thus far for Texas Tech. Now at 17, Kansas City Chiefs. Got them taking Kenyon Sadiq. Another Oregon player that could be a first rounder, but could easily end up coming back. This is his first year to really be like a main focus guy as far as that Oregon offense goes. But he's been living up to the expectations. At 18, Jeremiah Love, running back out of Notre Dame to the Chicago Bears. Had a really good game over the weekend against Southern Cal. Exceptionally fast, well-rounded. You've got to be something special to be a first-round pick as a running back because of the way the game has changed so much. Good receiver as well. So I've got him going to the Bears at 18. At 19, Caleb Lomu for Spencer Fano, teammate at Utah. They've got 2 offensive tackles that could be first-round picks. Just the way it's worked out. And lest you forget, this is Tides Tuesday. We got 6 players in for that next game. You can join as well with !play in chat. Go through the rest. It's not going to take too long getting through this. We have Tides Tuesday and all, but the unveiling. So Lomu to the Chargers at 19. And I don't know. I mean, they really need an offensive tackle. They got a few ways they could go there. Thoughts on Joe Alt? And Lomu, some have him like top 10. Some have him like round 2 or 3. But you get too far from the top, and opinions will start to vary a bit more. Just inevitable. So the Browns, presuming they take a quarterback higher, they come back on the board at 20. The trade they made during the draft with the Jaguars earlier this year. Denzel Boston, really good receiver in Washington, 6'4", so he's going to have height advantage over most defenders he's up against. At 21 to the Bills, one of the most intriguing prospects, Arvell Reese. He's a linebacker. Is he an edge rusher? Well, yeah, he can be. He's 6'4", he's got the size to be an edge rusher. He's a linebacker that covers the field like crazy, and you can drop him back into coverage like a defensive back. Now, normally one of my rules with this, in this game that has no real rules, but one of my rules for the way I do things is I have certain things, like fade the unicorn, what I would call this. Somebody's unique and special. Teams have to figure out a way to work that in. And that can be a tougher sell than the obvious. Well, he's just an exceptionally fast corner, full stop, versus a guy like with Reese, you can use him all over the place. Sometimes it takes a little bit more imagination, but if you can find that unicorn and find a use, then that's how you find ways to win that other teams simply can't utilize. At 22, Mansour Delani, corner for LSU, transfer from Virginia Tech. One of those guys that I thought was going to go in the draft last year, and then some of these players that they were lined up, they were going to go, and then, oh wait, they're going to stick around, and then they go to places like Oregon or LSU, Miami, etc. You can tell the schools that are really aggressive with the NIL. Or organized, maybe, more than aggressive. Will Lee III going to the Rams, corner from Texas A&M. There's a lot of unknown at this point because so many players have potential eligibility for next year for the NCAA if they choose to stay. But Will Lee, because he could technically try to get another year because he played a year of JUCO ball, but he's already said, no, I'm going pro. But there are several comparable corners that could go in this range. That'd be a little bit high for Lee, but that's just the way it worked out for this mock. If I scroll too far, spoilers. 24, Detroit Lions, C.J. Allen, really good linebacker from Georgia. One of those guys that covers the entire field, but he could come back for next year. So many of these guys, that's the case. Steelers at 25, got them taking Garrett Nussmeier, quarterback from LSU. I mean, Aaron Rodgers is having a surprisingly nice season for the Steelers, considering his age. Wonders of modern sports medicine and just that will and determination. Aaron Rodgers like, I'm going to make this work. I'm determined. Come back from Achilles. Are you kidding me? He's doing it. 26, Denver Broncos, Jeremy Bernard. Another guy is one of those like, I think he's going to go pro. I think he's going to, and then like, nope, he's coming back to college, and it's a good thing for him that he did because he's had a great year for the Crimson Tide. The Broncos at 26 with Bernard. 27, Anthony Hill Jr. Like, I've got several linebackers in this range. You figure they won't all stick because inevitably there'll be some other prospects at positions that are more important for the passing game. But for now, Hill, he's had a great 2024. He's having a great 2025 for the Longhorns. So I'm going Bucks, Hill at 27. At 28, Mekhi Lemon. A great season. I mean, dude's just tearing it up for the Trojans. He could come back for next year. The Eagles have a number of needs. Defensive end, edge rusher, for sure, but I don't think they'd force it necessarily. So in this mock, Eagles would limit. Don't get too mad at me, Eagles fans. Patriots at 29. Chris Brazil II. And opinions on him definitely have varied quite a bit. Not as much as the quote-unquote chalk of the earlier receivers listed, but he's been having a strong season for the Vols. So I've got Brazil 29 to the Patriots. And mentioned Caden Proctor earlier. I mean, dude was huge. He had a rough game against Florida State, just like Alabama did in general. And then, much like the Crimson Tide have turned it around this season, he's looked a lot better. I've seen him mention top 10. I've seen him mention his top overall offensive lineman to be drafted. I've seen second round. So, I mean, opinions vary. He's got too much physical talent. If he's healthy and able to perform well, he's going to impress some people. He probably won't be there at 30, but for the purposes of this mock, Proctor's there at 30. 31, Amari Washington, another Oregon player. This is what I'm talking about, Oregon. We get potentially 5 first-round picks, potential first-round picks, and they could all, because there's more guys than just on this list. and those on the periphery. Anyways, a bunch of players that could go pro, but maybe they won't. Can't lean too much on the old presumptions. Things have changed. So Amari Washington at 31 to Dallas, the pick they got as part of the Micah Parsons trade. And then at 32, Indianapolis Colts, LT Overton, defensive lineman, edge rusher, multi-purpose player for the Alabama Crimson Tide. So that is my latest 2026 NFL mock draft.